The world is full of urban legends, remarkable stories that spread like viruses around the planet, mutating and evolving until no one can remember which ones are true and which ones are urban legends. In this episode called Bestlaid Plans, you'll see 3 stories, all linked by schemes gone terribly awry. First up, when a California couple confront a blazing inferno, they are faced with a sickening life or death decision.
Get away from me!
Then a small-town mayor gets a delivery of unimaginable terror.
Get up on your feet! Face away from me!
And finally, the story of a jilted lover who comes up with a twisted plot for revenge. Watch all 3 stories and decide which urban legends are true and which ones are false. Find out if you guessed right at the end of the show. First, it's a story we like to call Out of the Frying Pan. Meet Ronnie Blake, a woman who knows how to play with fire and not get burned. But it's a lesson she had to learn the hard way.
I was disgusted, I was sick to my stomach, and I felt horrible. I don't think I could ever live through that again.
In 2002, Ronnie and her husband Derek set up their dream home in the beautiful hills of San Diego, California.
Derek designed this particular house, and because he grew up not too far away, he wanted to live there. He did a really good job at planning the house and building it.
The Blakes' home was perfect, apart from one small detail. They built it in a notorious fire zone.
It was something that we had to accept and live with, that if we were to build there, that there was always a threat of a fire.
Luckily, Derek Blake is well aware of the dangers and has taken every precaution to protect their home.
Derek was a MacGyver-type person. He was very well read on all the codes in order to be able to prevent fires from reaching the house.
But in the scorching summer of 2007, Derek's preparations are put to the ultimate test. A massive fire is raging only 20 miles away from their neighborhood.
The fire marshals came to the house several times to let us know it was time to go.
But Derek has other ideas.
This is imminent. We've taken all the precautions. You don't have to worry about us. I'm not leaving. Babe, come on. Case closed. That's it.
And Derek was there each and every time, letting them know that he could certainly manage this.
Can you have a word with your husband? Maybe talk some sense to him?
You know what? Thank you. We're not leaving.
The fire marshal was very clear that it was too serious of a fire for any person to be able to take on.
This house will not be here tomorrow.
He made me believe that he knew what he was doing. I'm torn. You know, you have somebody at the door saying you have to go, and I didn't want to leave Derek home alone with the house. There was no way he was going to leave the house.
Thanks. Babe, come back in.
The fire is now only 5 miles away, but somehow Derek convinces Ronnie to stay and help him prepare for the fight of their lives.
The fire was very intense. It was all around them, and it was obvious that it was going to be a problem for them.
It's too late to escape. The Blakes and their precious home are about to experience the full force of a raging forest fire.
The winds were blowing towards their direction.
Okay, turn around. Turn around.
And it was a very, very dangerous situation there.
I saw the roof catch fire, and it was spreading quickly. So I grabbed my phone and I called 911 right away.
I don't know.
We had asked them if they had a pool or a pond on their property or anywhere close that they could get to.
But with no pool or pond, the Blakes are left alone with a burning problem. Hours later, with the fire under control, the firefighters move in. There's no sign of Ronnie and Derek Blake.
I found the property to be burnt completely through. The house was burnt. We didn't expect to find anyone alive due to the severity of the fire.
Hello?
We did search the whole property, and then I noticed an open hatch on the lawn, so I went to investigate that.
Jack can't believe what he finds. The Blakes are alive, inside their full and putrid septic tank. But how did they get there?
The house had caught fire. The roof was engulfed in flames, and there was nothing that we can do for the house. Being disconnected from the firefighters, Derek started running around and saying, no, we can't stay here, we need to hide out, and he thought of the septic tank.
No, no.
I was burning, I felt ill, and I was choking. The smoke was unbearable. So he literally forced me, pushing me down the ladder. I was shaking, I was crying, I was screaming. Derek at this point is saying absolutely nothing. I don't know if he was in shock or what, but I certainly wasn't having him anywhere near me.
Get away from me!
I was so relieved when I heard the firefighters' voices.
Well, it wasn't very nice. It wasn't very pretty. They were, you know, the smell of their own waste wasn't very good. I was very surprised that they actually hid in there, but it was smart thinking on their behalf, given their situation and the fact that they were trapped.
It's horrible. I mean, we stayed in that septic tank for about an hour and a half, but that was the only place.
Incredibly, Ronnie and Derek emerge alive, covered in stinking sludge. They've just survived a raging California wildfire. Unfortunately, their marriage will not.
He should have seen the type of fire that was coming and choose to save ourselves and get out when we were told to. I just found it totally irresponsible that he felt that the house was more important than ourselves.
Did this husband's act of stubborn pride flush their home down the drain? Or can you smell a fake? We'll let you know at the end of the show. But before then, take a look at this mini-myth. Mini-myth number 178, Junkyard Jinx. An elderly couple ditched their old car at a Berlin scrapyard and were walking away when it started pouring. With no umbrella, they hopped back into the car to escape the downpour. Just when a crane operator swooped in to drop their car to the crusher. The crane driver stopped when he heard a woman's screams, but it was too late for her husband. So was this a true story, or just a heap of old junk? It was totally fake. No one would be quite that stupid, would they? On Urban Legends, we show you 3 stories. You have to decide which ones really happened and which ones are merely legends. So far, you've seen the story of a California couple forced to hunker down in their own waste. But is it fact or fantasy? Find out at the end of the show. Now it's time for our next story. It's called Deliverance. Small-town Mayor Shai Calvo is a simple man. He loves his dogs, his wife, and his hometown of Berwyn Heights, Maryland. But not even the mayor's seat could protect Shai from the terror that would descend upon his home in 2008.
You know, it was, not a pretty sight. I mean, he had, 3 bullets in him.
But what makes this tragic tale truly bizarre is it was caused by a harmless-looking box. It began on a summer evening when Shai took his dogs for their regular walk.
And there's nothing they enjoyed more than their evening walk.
Arriving home, he notices a delivery that has been left on the stoop.
I picked it up. It was a fairly large, but not very heavy white box. And I really thought nothing of it. I went back up the stairs to get back into business attire for my meeting. I was sitting on the edge of my bed when my mother-in-law yelled out, screamed, and I heard an explosion, and it was followed by immediate gunfire. Bang, bang, bang.
There's no sound from Shai's mother-in-law or his dogs.
Then there were boots running through my home, followed by yells and more gunfire. I could hear words like downstairs, downstairs. And then a few moments later, ominously, I heard them say, upstairs.
Upstairs, upstairs! Don't shoot! I'm upstairs!
I remember just screaming, I'm up here, please don't shoot, please don't shoot.
Don't shoot!
The men tell him neither who they are or what they want.
On your feet, get your hands up! Keep coming to stop my boy, put the hands!
He's marched backward down the stairs.
Keep coming!
It's then that Shai gets his first look at the masked men. They look like a SWAT team.
But that makes no sense. Why would police break into your home?
But if it's not the police, who is it? Shai is too scared to ask.
I mean, there's nothing like being forced to kneel at gunpoint on your own living room floor.
As the masked men ransack his home, Shai makes a heartbreaking discovery.
What you guys shot my dog?
They had just
What's going on?
unloaded on my 2 black Labradors and killed them. And my mother-in-law, who can't weigh much more than 100 pounds, had been thrown to the floor.
Shai then notices something else. Police officers on the lawn. This can't be a home invasion. Shai demands his rights.
I don't think I have to answer any. I haven't even seen a warrant.
We have a warrant. It's on its way. Don't worry about that right now.
I said, I have a meeting tonight. I'm the mayor. And they really just didn't respond to me. And one member of the SWAT team said, you know, this guy's crazy.
You guys, you don't know who you're dealing with here. I'm the mayor of this town.
Mayor, you're the mayor.
I'm the mayor.
Mayor of this town. What we're protecting.
Hey, you guys are gonna be in a lot of trouble when this is over. You guys.
Now he's getting angry.
I am innocent. I haven't done anything.
I think I got a rise out of him because he pointed to the box and he said, do you know what's in this box? And it wasn't until that moment that I had put any connection between what happened and the box.
Just miraculously showed up on your porch.
Shai wants answers, but the detectives who take over from the SWAT team have questions of their own.
And if the questions are, do you know any Jamaicans?
I don't know any Jamaicans.
So this spot.
Do you know anyone in Arizona?
Arizona. My mother? My mother lives in Arizona.
He made it clear that if we stop cooperating or our stories don't check out, he would call in the FBI to investigate this. So he was prepared to sort of ratchet it up.
Shai's freedom hangs by a thread. He has to figure out why this happened. He simply has to get answers about that box.
I want to know about that.
You tell me about that box. I don't know. It showed up the same day you guys did.
Certainly there was something, in that box that implied criminal behavior. And I started asking questions. I said, what's in the box? This is about a box.
Finally, Shai gets his answer. 32 pounds of marijuana, which has nothing to do with him.
All I did was bring it unopened and set it on a table. And the notion that we would be involved in this is absurd. At some point, I think they were going through stuff going, there's nothing here.
After 4 hours of questioning, the police finally accept that Shai is not a criminal.
I think somewhere they wanted to cover your tail mode. And he said to us that, acknowledge that they had found nothing to connect us to that box.
But why was a box of drugs delivered to a local mayor? Further police investigation revealed that a Jamaican drug gang had shipped the grass to Shai's home and were planning to collect it from his doorstep. But when police intercepted the package, the dealer's plan was foiled, and Shai's life turned upside down.
I kept saying, why didn't you knock? Why didn't you knock? We would have let you in.
But what Shai gets is far from an apology.
One of the police officers actually said to us that, your house is lovely, and houses we raid don't normally look like this.
A normal day turned into terror and chaos, all because of one box. But did it really happen? You'll have to wait to the end of the show to find out. But before then, take a look at this mini-myth. Mini-myth number 3,441. cured by suicide. A retired British Army major was suffering from severe depression. One morning, he reached his limit and shot himself in the head. His wife came in later to find him tucking into a plate of bacon and eggs, with a hole all the way through his head. Instead of killing him, the bullet had actually lobotomized him. After 3 months, he was cured of his depression and denied ever having suicidal thoughts. Is this true or false? It was completely true, but totally not recommended. On Urban Legends, we show you 3 incredible stories. Your mission is to sort the totally true from the fantastically false. So far, you've seen the tale of the Blakes who, facing death, were forced to marinate in their own bio-waste. And the story of Shai Calvo, the small-town mayor who ended up in big-time trouble after bringing in a surprise delivery. But which ones are real and which ones are fake? All will be revealed at the end of the show. In the meantime, watch our final story. We've named it With Friends Like These. Reporter Florence Loy has covered some strange cases, but the story you're about to hear takes the prize.
Utter disbelief is how people react when I tell them this.
It's a revenge plot so strange, with a twist so bizarre, that even police had trouble believing it.
It's a file where you're going through it and you're like, really? This really happened?
It all began in Edmonton, Canada, 2009. Derek Tebert Ayres and Michael Hancock were once best friends, but something has come between them.
Derek trusted very few people, and one of the people he trusted was Michael, and Michael had breached that trust.
You slept with her, didn't you?
Michael has been sleeping with the woman Derek loves.
I trusted you!
And basically said that this woman is something that he'd never ever thought he'd find, and he loved her, and she was amazing.
It's all too much for Derek, who already has a history of depression.
Derek had suicidal tendencies in the past and had attempted suicide and failed.
Derek decides Michael must pay, and his punishment for the betrayal will be to help Derek kill himself.
This is your punishment! To kill you? Yes!
Michael agreed to help Derek commit suicide. The pact was that Michael would stab him in the heart and make it look like a suicide.
Come on!
But will they actually go through with it?
Just do it, man. Ready?
But the knife wasn't lined up right. Michael only punctures a lung.
Derek didn't die instantly like he thought he was going to die.
In agonizing pain, Derek decides he wants to live.
Michael got very nervous and was thinking, oh my God, like maybe he set me up this whole time.
Thinking Derek's real plan was to frame him for attempted murder, Michael decides his only escape is to kill Derek and cover up the crime. That's when someone spots the fight.
I couldn't tell if it was a real fight or if they're just fooling around.
Michael flees the scene, believing he's killed his best friend. Derek is in critical condition.
At one point, he coughed, and you could feel the air coming out of his chest.
As Carrie desperately tries to save Derek's life, Michael's stab at escape backfires.
He ends up locking his keys in his car, where he's supposed to get rid of all the evidence. Now he's kind of stuck. He also realizes that he left the knife and he left his BlackBerry at the scene. In the heat of the moment, Carrie Nisbet grabbed the towel and attempted to save Derek's life.
Because it was pretty serious. There was a lot of blood lost, even though we were there, plugging it up the best we could.
Clearly no criminal mastermind, Michael knows he's in deep trouble, so he goes to the only person he knows he can, his father.
We don't know exactly what Michael told his father, other than he stabbed his best friend.
Michael's father persuades him to turn himself in, and the police arrive to question him. Michael confesses to stabbing Derek, but he insists that Derek set him up for murder as punishment for his betrayal.
He tried to frame me. Tried to frame me. Yes.
But Michael isn't the only one talking. Derek is still alive.
Derek said that, yeah, I wanted to die. It was what I wanted.
Derek denies he set up Michael. He insists he really wanted to die. But neither of them know that in the eyes of the law, it makes no difference.
Assisted suicide is not common in Canada. First, it's illegal. It's an attempted murder. There's no charges to Derek, and it's not against the law to try to kill yourself. It's not against the law to ask someone to kill you.
But it is against the law to assist in a suicide. Michael gets 7 years in jail, while Derek walks away, his romantic rival out of the picture.
I've never seen or heard anything like that in the past.
So is this tale of buddy betrayal terrifyingly true or murderously misleading? Find out the truth about all 3 stories after the break. It's time to reveal the truth about our 3 incredible stories. First up, it's the story of Ronnie and Derek Blake, whose quest to save their home from a California forest fire ended with them seeking refuge in their own refuse. But is it fact or fiction?
My name is Lisette Petticelli, and this story is a load of crap.
The story of septic tank survival is totally fake. Although there are many urban legends of people forced to make disgusting choices to save their lives, it's physically impossible to survive in a septic tank due to the gases. Next, it's the tale of a squeaky clean mayor whose dogs were killed and home torn to shreds after a box landed on his doorstep. But did it happen?
My name is Shai Calvo, and unfortunately, this is a true story.
These cops really did shoot first and ask questions later. The box was part of a drug smuggling operation, but Shai had absolutely nothing to do with it. Which leaves a story of Derek Tibert heirs and a revenge plot so strange, even local police were dumbfounded. But did this story betray your trust?
My name is Detective Dan Jones, and this is a true story.
This unbelievable story of a troubled young man and his misguided friend is totally true. That's the end of our episode called Bestlaid Plans. Were you able to split the tellingly true from the fictitiously false? Don't worry if you couldn't. You'll get another chance to separate fact from fiction in the next installment of Urban Legends.